Hey guys, welcome back. Listen, we just witnessed a fundamental reset in how Wall Street values the memory sector. We've been talking about it on this channel, but what we saw from the memory titans from the Fab Four today was absolutely phenomenal. All four of them had strong days on the market, but Micron and SanDisk, they were a bit different. They just didn't grow. They absolutely exploded today. Both of those stocks closed with over an 11% gain in the single session today. We aren't just looking at a cyclical bounce anymore. We are now looking at a structural shift where the memory sector is now the most strategic asset in the AI data center. Today, we're going to break down the record-breaking day for those two stocks. We're going to take a look at the massive whale trades that we're seeing in the after hours in the dark pools right now for Micron and SanDisk. I'm going to talk about the new HDD Killer that Micron announced, a bullish sector report from the IDC, and a flurry of earnings prints that hit the street after today's close that confirm this is the strongest sector in the entire market in 2026. Guys, there is so many great things to see and talk about in today's video. So let's dive in. But first, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in and talk about the explosive growth that we saw with Micron and SanDisk today. But first, I just want to start off by looking at what we did see in the NASDAQ 100. You can clearly see the stocks that drove today's index, driven by Micron right there in the middle, staring straight at you with an 11.06% gain on the day. It was an outstanding day for them. And I'm going to get into every reason why Micron and SanDisk differentiated themselves in the market today. But we saw strong performance from Broadcom right above. AMD. I'm going to walk through AMD's earnings print at the end of this video, so make sure you stay on in the end because there are clear signs that we saw in that print and the others that dropped after today's close that give us more conviction, more confidence in this memory sector as we move forward. But we saw the picks and the shovels had a great day, and Apple drove the way for the Magnificent Seven overall. But I wanted to show you this one other article before I dive in and take a look at today's specific action for Micron and SanDisk. This dropped in the Wall Street Journal last week, and it was such a cool stat. I had to share it on the channel. Guys, if you look at the chart, it's calling out the big three HBM players. So we're looking at Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. The gray bars represent their net income in 2025 and where it ranked among all the companies. And you can see Micron ranked 49th. If we jump forward 1 year in 2026, look at the impact that AI is having on the profitability of these companies. Micron went from 49th to 9th. In fact, today it passed over the 700 billion market cap spot. Huge moment for the company. This is just showing you the massive growth, the massive demand in the market for not only Micron, but SK Hynix jumped from 18 to 6, Samsung from 16 to number 2. Huge moves. Just showing you what is out there in the market, the demand that these companies are meeting with their innovative products, with their advanced memory products. It's awesome to see. And this is why we've been tracking Micron on this channel. It's why we've been tracking it in our portfolios, and it's why it's making us all a lot more money this year. Let's dive in also to this IDC report before I show you what the stocks did today, because this set the foundation for the day. And you can see in the headline, Micron surges to a record as analysts argue AI has broken the memory cycle. The subheader clearly says the IDC analysts argue AI has created an unprecedented inflection point that could break memory market's boom-bust cycle. It's what we've talked about. We need to move away from this old thinking of boom-bust with memory. It's a completely different world now. I think we're finally starting to see these stocks get re-rated in real time and get valued based on what they bring to the market. If I scroll down in this article, there's a few things I wanted to highlight right here and here that just drive the importance of why this set the stage, I think, for the explosive growth we saw today. But you can clearly see, based on the report, the memory segment sits at the epicenter of this shift, the AI shift. The global semiconductor market undergoes what the firm calls a seismic transformation. This time is different, with AI driving an unprecedented inflection point for memory. They talk about how this compares to the past, and they say today, hyperscalers are paying premium prices for a fundamentally different, higher grade class of memory and are actively locking in supply contracts to guarantee access. We heard today Micron is already locking in multi-year contracts that are out through 2027, giving great revenue visibility for the company. And the thing I think drove some of the action we saw today is right here, where it says the IDC is projecting DRAM sales could reach almost 420 billion this year, nearly 3 times the level of last year. And NAND revenue is forecasted to climb to about 174 billion, more than doubling last year's revenue or year-over-year growth. Micron makes both of these products. They're heavily invested in DRAM and the NAND products overall. So this is a huge explosive growth for what we saw. And let's jump in and look at exactly what we did see today with Micron. You can clearly see on the board, we had Micron close at 640.20. Unbelievable day. Almost a $64 gain, over an 11% growth, closing at a record high. It's not the 52-week high, though. If you look to the right, you can see the day's range. We got up to $652 almost, just under that. That's the new 52-week high for the company right now. But look in the after hours right now. We've passed it. We're at $673 a share right now in the after hours. Another $33 gain on top. This is a massive movement. Another 5% happening right now. This stock is on fire. You know, I've been so conservative with my price target. I originally was thinking yesterday, because a viewer asked me, what's going to be your new price target? 725 is what I was thinking. I mean, we may move past that way faster than I expected to see by the end of the year. So this is awesome to see. We also saw a massive closing cross right here. You can see with Micron, another 1.5 billion crossing the ticker right at the close, 2.3 million shares right at the 640.20 level for Micron. So is this the new institutional floor for the stock? We can talk about that at the end, but that's a massive sign of conviction. We also saw 161 million in the after hours. So huge move for the stocks overall. Big jump overall. It was great to see this piece with Micron. As I mentioned, they had a massive new product that they launched today too, which I think catapulted their growth even further. I'm going to dive in and talk about that in a moment, because what we're seeing is a major HDD killer that we're calling. It is a 245 terabyte 6600 ion SSD. It's a product that they've launched. It's very differentiated. It's going to help the AI space and potentially could be an HDD killer. Could come right after some of the margins that we see with Western Digital and Seagate. So let's get to that in a minute, but I first want to show you SanDisk's day, because SanDisk had a strong day. And while Micron's day at an 11.06% gain, it was outpaced here by SanDisk. $150 gain on the day. SanDisk closed at $1,406 a share, up almost 12%. And look what it's doing in the after hours as well. Another 4.25%, another $60 gain for SanDisk, getting close to almost that $1,500 level. And we know that this is right in line with the price targets for these companies. If I scroll down, you can see the price targets all from 1,300 to 2,000, all in that range. So we still see Susquehanna and Cantor Fitzgerald with lots of upside with this stock, despite what we're seeing in the market today right now, or what we're seeing. It's an awesome piece overall. Guys, there's a piece I want to jump over and just show you real quickly. If I looked at the news, because I mentioned it earlier, but you could see that Micron is hitting a $700 billion cap for the first time. But if I jump back over here, you can also see that SanDisk, after it's spun off now, it's actually valued higher than Western Digital now. And it's a $200 billion company right now. Massive move for this company. Huge day overall. And it was driven by just what we're seeing. They are now the NAND king in the marketplace. No question. We did see a massive closing cross for them as well. It was about a $780 million closing cross at the end. The massive amount of sweep activity throughout the afternoon session. So just strong institutional conviction for SanDisk as well. They have fundamentally changed their business model. They've moved away from the commodity cycles and into these massive multi-year AI infrastructure deals. We're talking, there was news today, they recently signed contracts, 3 contracts today alone that represented a $42 billion worth of deals or partnerships for the company. This transition to predictable high margin revenue is why we're seeing the price targets for SanDisk move the way they are. It's why they're being revised to that 2,000 level. So let's shift. I want to talk about the massive news that Micron made, and we can see it right here. The industry leading 245 terabyte Micron 6600 Ion data center SSD. It's now shipping. It's redefining the rack scale density through breakthrough energy efficiency versus hard drives. This is directly going after hard drives. It's why I called it an HDD killer. There's a picture of the product as well. It's actually built with the G9 QLC NAND, 245 terabytes, as I mentioned. It's redefining the high capacity data center storage. A few things I'd call out, and I'll jump into it a little further, but the drive marks a major step forward in rack scale storage density for data centers and is designed to support AI, cloud, enterprise, and hyperscale workloads. The biggest piece below here, you can see in that last line, it requires 82% fewer racks to achieve equivalent raw storage capacity compared to HDD-based deployments. A few other pieces that I wanted to just bring to your attention, because this is a major selling point for the hyperscalers as well. It is 84 times better energy efficient. And you can see in the second one here, demonstrated up to 435 times better throughput per watt. And then finally at the end, the last bullet point, the HPC cooling savings of over 3.14 billion BTUs per year for this product. So guys, this is a massive move, a massive product. They're going right after the HDDs, as I mentioned. Their leadership team explicitly said today when they announced it, that AI is driving a permanent shift of data center storage away from HDDs to SSDs. Rather than acting as a complementary memory like high bandwidth memory or DRAM, this SSD serves as a high-speed storage layer for the massive data sets that feed AI models. Micron designed this product to support the next generation AI data lakes, and it delivers 8.6 times faster AI preprocessing compared to HDD-based systems. By reducing physical footprint and cooling demands, this drive helps data center operators scale AI infrastructure with strict power constraints. And while Seagate and Western Digital continue to dominate the bulk or cold storage market, where the cost per terabyte is the only metric that matters, Micron's new drive is a direct assault on the enterprise market share in the high-performance AI and cloud environment. Let's dive in and talk about the earnings that did hit today and what it will mean to the memory sector overall. Because today's earnings gauntlet wasn't just a win for the individual tickers. It was a massive validation of the memory sector's high-margin future. We saw a synchronized surge across the entire AI stack that proves the infrastructure build-out is moving from hype to heavy deployment. Let's start with AMD's and their GPU ramp. AMD reported record-breaking demand for their MI350 series GPUs. Their data center revenue climbed almost 40%. This is the golden ticket for Micron and for the other memory players, because these chips are hungry for HBM4 more than anything else we've seen before. Every MI350 sold effectively locks in a high margin revenue for Micron's top-tier memory product. AMD grew by 4% today. They closed at 355, just over 355. And in the after hours right now, the stock is up by 13%. It's hitting a level of about 404, 405 right now. Now let's shift to Astera Labs, because guys, they were arguably the biggest surprise of the day when they dropped their print this afternoon. Astera posted a 83% year-over-year revenue jump, all fueled by the ramp of their Gen 6 PCIe switching. And this matters to us as memory investors, because Astera is the interconnect that glues memory to the CPU. You don't see an 83% jump in switching unless the volume of memory moving through those systems is reaching vertical levels. Today on the market, they grew by 7% and closed today just under $216 a share. In the after hours, we're seeing another 2% growth. They're tracking right now at about $220 a share. And then the last one today that really relates to the infrastructure build out was Supermicro and the capacity wall that they're showing right now. The market is nitpicking their margins a bit. It's why we saw them drop today by just about 0.32. They closed at 27.32 today. But you cannot ignore the 123% year-over-year revenue explosion we're seeing with Supermicro. They are building a new 715,000 square foot AI campus because you literally cannot build racks fast enough. Each of those racks represent a massive footprint for SanDisk and for Micron. And you guys have to remember, a few weeks ago, I told you that Supermicro was a risky pick. I say if you, high risk, high reward, I think is the way I termed it. In the after hours right now, we are seeing that stock jump up by 18%, closing in on about 33, 34 a share. It was about 19 when I made that prediction, or gave you the advice of a high risk, high reward stock. So you don't win them all, but that one had some nice growth overall from 19 to 33. And I think that stock can still track back towards the $50 a share that we saw before all the trouble that the company has been facing. So guys, in closing, today's momentum and the movement we saw with the memory sector was no question about it, historic. We saw vertical moves with Micron and SanDisk, over 11% gain, hitting 52-week highs, driving further in the after hours, and we saw massive closing cross, a $1.5 billion closing cross for Micron, almost an $800 million closing cross for SanDisk as well. But any disciplined investor has to look at the tape and has to see if there's any signs for caution. And with a vertical move like we saw, there's no question in my mind we may see potential for profit taking tomorrow. We may see a bit of a pullback, and I know the after hours is not showing as that's right now. We could have a gap up and crap, let's say, at the opening bell, where we see algorithmic selling and profit taking. Just given that these stocks are hitting such highs, I think some people may pull some profits off the table. With those closing cross that we saw as well, in my opinion, I think they're massive signs of convictions, but they also could be liquidity events where institutions offload massive shares to retail and retail investors that have a fear of missing out as they see stocks go vertical. So I think we have to look at the opening bell. If we can hold the 640 level for Micron, and if we can hold the 1406 level for SanDisk within that first 30 minutes of trading, if we don't see it gap up and drop, then I think the support is there, and it's clearly showing us the institutions and the whales are behind these stocks. Any way you look at it, today was a massive day for the sector. It was a massive day for our portfolio as well. And it proved that the memory super cycle, the structural shift that we talk about in this channel, is real and it's accelerating. Guys, in my opinion, those closing crosses that I shared in the channel, they demonstrate the ultimate institutional stamp of approval for Micron and SanDisk. You know I track those dark pools each and every day. I track the closing crosses and I share them with each and every one of you so you don't have to do it. I do all of that in the pursuit to make sure that we're bringing insights and knowledge directly to this channel to hopefully make all of us a more informed and better investor. So I appreciate each and every one of you watching the channel, all of your comments, all of the support that you give this channel. Let's keep tracking towards that 10,000 subscriber milestone. It would be a massive milestone to hit in the month of May, 5 months since this channel started. It would be a huge sign of conviction and support from you guys. So I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everybody.